examinations. June 25th, your examinations will be started. So be prepared well for the examinations. Don't neglect the studies. Today, as you asked me to explain about the how do organisms reproduce lesson, and that already I explained about the asexual reproduction as well as the vegetative propagation in the plants. We have discussed already, and today we are going to discuss about sexual reproduction in the plants as well as the human reproduction. These we are going to discuss today, these two topics. With regards of these topics, first of all, sexual reproduction in the plants. In this case, before learning of that topic, why do organisms reproduce sexually? This we have to know about it. Actually, asexual reproduction is the one of the kind of reproduction where the organisms are produced by only one single organism is participated. Okay, but in the sexual reproduction, both the organisms should be participating. Male organism as well as the female organism should be participated in the sexual reproduction. When the male organism as well as the female organism is reproduced together, and they produce a variety of organism which is having the lot of differences, and moreover lot of variations will be occur in the organism's body, the resulted organism's body, which is very much greater than the parents, and that organism which is produced by sexual reproduction, it can withstand the drastic conditions of the environment. So that is the major theme and major point why the organism should reproduce by sexually. Okay, here the DNA copying will be taking place, and this DNA, the genetic material of the living organisms, will be crossing over between the male and female organisms, and the resulted organism will be in a vigorous manner, means very great quality will be there in the resulted organism. So it can withstand the drastic and drought conditions, or where diverse conditions of the environment it can withstand and also survive in the environment. So this is the major purpose why the organisms should reproduce by sexually. So let us learn about the sexual reproduction in the plants. So we have already discussed about the parts of the plant in the previous classes. There are the major 4 parts are there in the plant, that is stem, roots, leaves and flowers. So among these 4, stem, roots and leaves are undergone the reproduction in the vegetative propagation. Means without the sexual combination of the male and female, those will be reproduced. That is vegetative propagation. Other than these 3 parts of the plant, there is one more part which is called as a flower, which we say that it is a reproductive part of the plant. It has the 4 major parts in it. 4 major parts are presented in the flower, that is calyx, corolla, androecium, and the gynoecium. They are the 4 parts that are presented in the flower. In this first 2, calyx are also called as sepals, and corolla is also called as petals. Sepals and petals are together called as accessory, secondary reproductive parts of the plant. Why these are secondary reproductive parts or non-essential reproductive parts means these cannot directly participate in the reproduction. Only these will be help in the reproduction. For example, if you take the calyx, it is a green part which is presented in the plant, it's the first row of the plant, flower, and it will be in a green color because of the presence of chlorophyll, and it is useful, the chlorophyll is useful for the photosynthesis, for the preparation of the food. That means that calyx prepare its food and provide the food to the all other parts of the flower. That is the major function of the calyx. And the second function of the calyx is protecting the inner layers of the flower, especially at the bud stage. That is the major function of the flower. Here the calyx will not participate in the reproduction. And next one is corolla. The colorful attractive petals together called as corolla. Those may be yellow color, orange color, white color, red color. So many different types of colors are there, those petals, and these will be the major function of these petals is only attracting the insects and help in the pollination. Pollination we will discuss later. These petals are attracting the insects completely. Only that is the major function. So that what happens, the insects or the birds or the animals or the human beings, everyone will be attracted by the flowers, and when they touch the flowers, the pollen grains which are presented in the flower will be attached to the body of these organisms. When they touch the another flower, and these pollen grains are transferred from one flower to another flower. So the fertilization will be taking place, and that is the sexual reproduction for the flower. So here the corolla will attract all the insects and other organisms. That is the major function of the corolla, and it also protect the inner layers of the flower. And come to the next one, the third one, that is androecium. It's also called as male reproductive system, M-R-S, male reproductive system. It has the two parts. Male reproductive system, it has the two parts, and this total is called as stamen. And stamen is having the two parts in it, long stalk-like structure. This is called as a filament. And the top of the filament there is a bulb-like structure will be presented, and this is called as anther. And this anther is consisting of lobed structures. Anther lobes are presented there. In the anther lobes, if you take the anther in the vertical section, 4 lobes are presented in the anther, and each lobe consisting of microscopic spores-like structures will be presented. Spores-like structures will be presented in the lobes, and this anther is also called as microsporangia. Microsporangia. So the spores-like structures which are presented in the anther, these are called as pollen grains. Pollen grains, and these also called as microspores. These also called as microspores, pollen grains as well as the microspores. And these are the microspores, the pollen grains which are presented in the anther of this male reproductive system. Those are called as male gametes. So the male gamete of the flower is pollen grain. Okay, and the fourth row, that is called as gynoecium. It is also having the 3 parts. Let us discuss. This is the gynoecium. It is also called as a pistil, or we can say carpel. Female reproductive system, FRS, female reproductive system, gynoecium. It's also called as carpel or pistil, and it is having the three parts. The top of the part which is bulged and make a platform for the settlement of the pollen grains, that is called as stigma. And the lower part which is called as basement actually, and this part is bulged like a bulb, and this is called as ovary. The ovary contains a small spores like structures will be presented. These are called as ovules, and these ovules are also said to be as megaspores. And the ovary is called as megasporangia. Ovary is called as megasporangia, and ovules are called as megaspores. And between the ovary and the stigma, there is a long stalk-like structure is presented. This is called as a style, which acts as a bridge between the stigma and ovary. And through this style, from the stigma, the pollen grain will be travel and reaching the ovary at the time of fertilization. Okay, so here the ovules are also called as female gametes. Okay, female gamete. So the male gamete is pollen grain, and female gamete is ovule. Female gamete. So these two, this is the male gamete and this is the female gamete. These two together, combining or the fusion of male gamete with the female gamete is called fertilization, and producing a fertilized egg is called as zygote. Zygote develops into embryo, embryo develops into a small plantlet. This is a complete sexual reproduction which is going on in the plant. Okay, and here the pollen grains are fusing with the ovum. That means male gamete is fusing with the female gamete and producing the fertilized egg called as zygote. So how this is happening, that we are going to discuss. To conduct the sexual reproduction in the plant, two major functions should be done by the plant, that is pollination and the fertilization. These are the two major functions, or we can say steps, that are involved in the sexual reproduction of the plants. Pollination, transferring of pollen grains from anther of one flower to stigma of the another flower. Transferring of pollen grains from anther of one flower to stigma of the another flower is called as pollination. It is of two types: self-pollination and cross-pollination. Self-pollination and cross-pollination. And in this self-pollination, when you are talking about the self-pollination, suppose if you take a plant, these are the roots. If you take a plant like this, so pollen grains from anther of one flower to stigma of the another flower of the same plant. Another flower of the same plant. This is called as self-pollination. It is also said to be as autogamy. What is that? Autogamy means transferring of pollen grains from one flower to anther of one flower to stigma of the another flower of the same plant. That is called self-pollination. And when come to the cross-pollination, transferring of pollen grains, one more plant. Suppose if you take the one more plant, transferring of pollen grains from anther of one flower of the one plant to stigma of the another flower of the another plant of same kind. Listen to me. Cross pollination means transferring the pollen grains from anther of one flower of the one plant to stigma of the another flower of the another plant of same kind. This is called cross pollination, and this is very, very important here, the cross pollination, to get the variations, small changes which makes the resulting plant survive in the adverse conditions also, drastic conditions also. So variations are formed only because of the cross pollination. Here two different the pollination is going on between the two different flowers. Okay, so the variations will be taking place here. So that is the cross pollination. For this cross pollination, pollinating agents are very, very important agents, because the pollen grains don't have the locomotory organs, so these cannot move, but those can be carried by some means of transportation. The means of transportation is called as agents for the cross pollination. Okay, and these agents may be two types: biotic agents, abiotic agents. Biotic agents are insects, birds, humans, and abiotic agents are air and water. Okay, these are the agents that are responsible for cross pollination. Okay, and these we will discuss in the next video. Okay, thank you.